Thank you very much, David. Is that about right? Thanks, David. So I'm going to talk about NFTs, crypto, Web3, these words that we hear a lot on in sport. I've been reporting on this pretty much full time for the last 18 months. And if there's one thing that I want to say from my reporting, looking to it in depth, it is that's what I think. I think it is a vehicle to transfer cash from poor people to rich people. I think it is a vehicle for financial speculation. I think we hear about collectibles, fan engagement. I think this is about creating digital assets for people to buy and sell, and it's poor sports fans that lose out, and it's very rich people that lose money. I mean, the first thing I want to say is I'm not talking here about specific companies. I do that a lot in my work with The Athletic. I'm talking about here the sphere as a whole, so don't interpret what I say as about this company or that company. My journey into this topic, so I've always been very interested in technology. My writing for The Athletic, I've done lots on gambling, on all sorts of aspects of technology. Is very exciting in football, I believe, in many ways. You know, there's all sorts of people at this event which I think can make football better for fans. Someone said to me, you know, NFTs, what are they? And I didn't know. And I did what every journalist did. You kind of look into it. You speak to people on both sides. There are advocates, there are critics. And I wrote something about 18 months ago, which is pretty even-handed. You know, there were critics, there were people, and the more I looked into it, the more skeptical I became. And this is an article I wrote. Is that better? Is this better? Thank you. And here's something I wrote earlier this year. This is in June. This went pretty viral, and there's actually a debate in the UK Parliament about this next Tuesday, that 19 out of 20 Premier League clubs promoted crypto assets which completely tanked in value. And I think this is a scandal. I think this is a complete scandal. And one person, senior in football, said to me, you know, why football? People say this to me a lot. Why are crypto and football wrapped up in this way? And the simple answer is, it's the cheapest way to reach young men, right? If you want people to buy your token, you know, young men don't really watch TV, don't necessarily read magazines, but they do watch football. So these companies are using football as a vehicle to sell their token directly to young men that often they're completely tank in value. And I think this is a scandal and an outrage. And clubs and players are directly financially invested in talking up these products that fans then buy, and then they crash. And a question I often come back to is why crypto, right? You often hear these schemes and they sound cool, you know, collectibles, fan engagement. I think, you know, fan engagement is a fantastically important thing in modern football. You know, here in Lisbon, you have the socios model, which is really interesting. You know, with English clubs, you have, you know, it was fan protests that changed the direction of travel with the Super League. You know, this stuff is great. Adding volatile cryptocurrency to this equation, I don't get it, and I've been trying very hard to get it for 18 months. You know, and just a few examples. You know, that's the Arsenal token, that's the Aston Villa token, that's the Everton fan token. You know, and what that graph means is fans buy, you know, but when it goes down, it means more people are selling than buying. So lots of people will have bought the thing at the top, lost money, and that is money transferred from sports fans to football clubs. You know, we've had the Liverpool Heroes NFTs, which basically sank without a trace. You know, you'll never see Liverpool tweeting about these anymore because it's been a disaster. You know, these are Tezos promoted by Manchester United. At the peak, the very peak, was when they signed the sponsorship deal to get more people to buy the crypto, and then it tanks. You know, this was one promoted by Norwich City, which went from $8 to $0 in the space of a few weeks. I think this was West Ham United. Dogecoin, you've probably heard of that one, which was bizarrely on the sleeves of Watford FC last season. Again, right at the top, they used football to get more people to buy their crypto, and then it tanked. And I think you hear a lot from people in this world is, you know, well, these things go in cycles. Cycles, of course, you know, it's volatile. It goes up and it goes down. And with Bitcoin, I'm sure everyone knows somebody who knows somebody who made lots of money on Bitcoin, right? It started down here and it went up to here. But the direction of travel of these tokens in sport has not been a cycle, it's been one way. It started here and it's ended here. And it comes back to that thing of, why are they doing this? Because it's the way to reach young men who, it's obviously not exclusively young men who buy crypto and like football, but it largely is. And they're running out of buyers, right? Especially in a world of a cost of living crisis, interest rates are high, and people are selling their crypto, and these things are crashing, And you'd be a fool to sort of predict the direction of crypto in future. I'm certainly not trying to. Things might go back up, but I don't see this as some cycle where it's going to come back again, because the trading volumes have decreased, so people have sold up. The money is gone. We've spoken about a few clubs already. Any fans of Brighton in the audience? Brighton and Hove Albion? Probably not. A bit obscure. They've just lost Graham Potter. Anyway, Brighton are the only club. I said earlier there was 19 out of 20 Premier League clubs had promoted a cryptocurrency which has tanked. Brighton are the only one which haven't, so take from that what you will. So I just want to talk about some of the crypto kind of buzzwords that I hear a lot, and what I personally understand when I hear by them, okay? So one of these is revenue generating. So this crypto is great because it generates revenue for a club, right? And I'm sure if you work on the business side of sport, that's a good thing. And I personally, as a football fan, I want my club to make money, because then they can make new signings. Then hopefully it's less money that they have to sell from tickets and things like that. So if my club has a great sponsorship deal, great. But if my club is making money from selling tickets, then who is buying that ticket? It's a fan who understands what they're getting. They get a product there. They might think it's expensive, but it does what it says on the tin. You get into the match. They might buy a shirt, which again, it might be crazy expensive, but you know what it is. I believe that many of the people buying these crypto tokens, cryptocurrencies, are not buying them as a collectible or as fan engagement. They're buying them because they think the line will go up, right? And what happens when the line doesn't go up, like it has done for 19 out of 20 Premier League clubs? Then you've generated revenue from selling people nonsense. And through my research, I understand that a lot of the people buying these things are not, La Liga or Premier League or sports fans in these kind of countries. They're people in places like Turkey and Brazil, where the currency has collapsed, and people look to alternative investments to try and fight against inflation. So I believe there to be a direct link between these sports promotions and some poor people in poorer countries in the world buying speculative assets that completely tank, which I think is an outrage. Another thing we hear a lot is utility. This is not just a magic bean. This has this great utility. And I always find this phrase very confusing because, I could have this scrap of paper in my pocket. This might give you 2 tickets, or a water bottle give you 2 tickets to the Champions League final. Now, does that mean that the water bottle has an amazing utility, or does it mean that the tickets to the Champions League final are cool and we want them? And you see this a lot in the world of crypto. You'll see, here's this token, but it will give you a meeting with Messi or a shirt or a ticket to a match. Okay, that's valuable, but the utility has no need for any link with cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency exists for the purposes of financial speculation, and because if you create them and sell them to people, you make loads of money. You as the rich person, as the athlete, as the sports team, raise money from your fans, which I think isn't good. And another buzzword we hear a lot is education. I'm sure many people in this audience, like I was when I first started talking about all this, are baffled. It's these phrases that we don't know, that we find confusing. But if you learn more, if you educate yourself, you will think it's great. And I personally have found the complete opposite. The more I've learned, the more skeptical I am. And the less I believe that there is anything to this other than financial speculation, which is transferring money from poor people to rich people. The title of this talk, I believe, was Sports and Crypto, the Emperor's New Clothes, with a question mark at the end. Now, usually these kind of headlines with a question mark are a sort of device, and the actual answer is no, it's more complicated than that, and let me tell you why. I believe that this is the Emperor's New Clothes. It's simple, no need for a question mark. And I've written lots of investigations about this on The Athletic, which I'd love you to read. Thanks for having me. Thank you to WebSummit for having me. I know that this is there's a lot of crypto people here, and they've welcomed me into the lion's den, and I'm very grateful to WebSummit for that. So thank you very much.